Welcome back, Forging friends. It has been a bit of time, but I'm back with deck number 10 of this Dark Tidings opening. Let's go ahead and crack this one open and see what we got in store for us today. We are dealing with, today, we have Logos, Unfathomable, and Saurians. Three pretty strong houses. This is Ubermask of the Assertive Harbor. I like the name Ubermask. He's got very curly arms and very short feet, and a head where I'm not sure exactly where his face is. Let's open this up and see what we get. All right, dropping down the Archon card and the Tide card. We are starting with Unfathomable. We have Sink or Swim action card. Play, choose one. Your opponent discards a random card from their hand or exhaust a creature at each of its neighbors. We've got Maelstrom. Put each creature on top of its owner's deck in a random order. Gain 2 chains. Board wipe. Maybe, I mean, it's a hard one. It's kind of a long-term planning thing. We have Guiltspine Netcaster. 2-power creature. It's got a capture pip. Reap, exhaust a creature. Frigorific Rod, artifact with an Amber Pip, action, exhaust a creature or artifact. Call of the Void, an action card with an Amber Pip. Play, exhaust a creature. If it was already exhausted, destroy it instead, and its controller loses an Amber. Good combos with that. We have Brain Drain, action card with an Amber Pip. Play, look at your opponent's hand, choose a card from it to put on top of their deck. Really powerful card for a common. Any card that lets you look at your opponent's hand. Crazy. Sleep with the Fishes, action card with an Amber Pip. Play, destroy each exhausted creature. Really good to end a combo with. Echo Pearl is an artifact with an Amber Pip. Omni, destroy Echo Pearl, exhaust, stun, and enrage a creature. Just take it out of the game. Illusions of Grandeur is an action card with an Amber Pip. Play, choose a house in your opponent's identity card. If your opponent does not choose that house as their active house on their next turn, gain 3 Amber. Basically forcing them into a house. We don't have very many creatures here. Only 1 creature so far. And we have 2 of those Illusions of Grandeur. There's the Abyssal Zealot, a 4-power creature with, after you raise the tide, capture 2 Amber. After your opponent raises the tide, move 2 Amber from Abyssal Zealot to the common supply. Really, really disruptive card. Good Amber control there. We have Voice of Recusal, a rare 5-power, 1-armor creature. While the tide is high, each friendly creature gets +1 power and +1 armor. While the tide is low, each enemy creature gets +1 power, +1 armor. Oh no. That is a creature. That is definitely a creature. I don't know if I would ever play this guy. Crazy. Going on to Saurians, we have Undagnathus, a 12-power creature. While the tide is low, it deals no damage when fighting, okay? Reach Advantage, action card with an Amber Pip. Play, if the tide is high, a friendly creature captures 3, otherwise raise the tide, like those free tide raisers. Medicus Locus, a 5-power creature. While the tide is high, you may spend Amber on friendly creatures as if they were in your pool. Very nice. Lapisaurus is a 4-power, 2-armor creature with Taunt, and while attacking Lapisaurus, enemy creatures gain before fight exalt this creature. Pretty cool. Consul Primus, 3-power creature with Reap, move 1 Amber from a creature to another creature. Always nice. Got 2 of those. Oop. Censor Philo, 5-power creature, cannot be dealt damage by creatures with Amber on them. Could be very good, and we have 2 of him. Trojan Sauropod, a rare artifact with an Amber Pip, and it enters play under your opponent's control. Omni, gain 3 Amber. Your opponent reveals their hand and puts each creature from it into play ready, then refills their hand as if they were in their draw card step. Destroy Sauropod. So you're basically letting your opponent summon a bunch of creatures for 3. It might be a good end game card if you're really wanting to push your last key, but man, it's really tough to use. Sorry about that. Our action card with play, destroy a creature, its controller gains an Amber. Primus Ungus, a 5-power creature with 1 armor. Each friendly creature gets +2 power for each Amber on Primus Ungus. Reap, exalt him. So yeah, he's a rare 5-power, 1-armor creature. He can really power up your guys. Very cool. Imperial Forge, an action card with an Amber Pip. A rare card. Play Forge a key at +8 current cost, reduced by 1 Amber for each Amber on friendly creatures. Ooh, okay, so we really got to look at the amount of Amber we can generate here. Going on to Logos, we have Theory or Conjecture. It's got a capture pip. Action card, play, choose one, archive the top 2 cards of your deck, or play the top card of your deck. Could be very good. Talmage Steelheart, 3-power creature. Play, give her +1 power counters for each card you have played this turn, including this one. See if we can play some cards off house, make her really strong. We have Submersive Principle, an action card with play. Each player loses 1 Amber. If the tide is high, each player loses half their Amber instead, rounding down the loss. Always good to have. Phase Shift, very nice. As an action card, and you may play a non-Logos card this turn. Always great with that Talmage Steelheart. It may be basically great in any Logos set. Old Egad, a 1-power, 2-armor creature. Destroyed, ward each of his neighbors. Handy. We have the Hydra Cataloger artifact with an Amber Pip and a Capture Pip. After a player raises the tide, they archive the top card of their deck. Some consistent archiving there. And we have Eddie, 4x4, 3-power creature with play archive a card. Your opponent's keys cost +1 for each card in your archives. Can really add up with this, so that's always nice to see. Australia Sealborg is a 4-power creature with Reap. Deal 2 damage to a creature. If this damage destroys that creature, raise the tide. Novu Archaeologist, a 4-power creature with action. Archive a card from your discard pile. Great one. We have Mechabui, an artifact with an Amber Pip. At the start of each player's turn, if the tide is high for that player, they gain 1 Amber. This really kind of forces you to keep taking chains here. We have Forgive or Forget, an action card with a Capture Pip. Play, choose 1, archive 2 cards of different types from your discard pile, or purge up 2 cards from each discard pile. Very nice. We have 2 of those. Wow. That's really, really, really good. Can get a lot of reuse out of cards in our discard pile. Very cool. All right. I will be back on my computer with the counts, and we will see what SAS this is. All right. Welcome back to my desktop. I have the counts done, and I have the deck pulled up here. So looking at creatures, we have 16 creatures. Not terrible, not great. I mean, it's kind of an average number of creatures. I have a new thing in here called Tide Switchers. These are things that can, without taking chains, let us take the tide. So trying to remember off the top of my head what it was. I think there were 2 here in, oh no, it was Reach Advantage, one of them. Raise the Tide for free if you don't already have it. And there was one other one. So yeah, 2 of those. Those are always handy to have in Dark Tidings decks. Amber on the cards have 12 to 21. That's a pretty big range, right? So one of the things is the Trojan Sauropod. We can decide whether or not we want to get that extra 3. Probably an endgame card, like I said during the opening, but that's 3 we can get. And then the other ones are the Illusions of Grandeur. If we're telling our opponent they have to pick a certain house, but if they don't choose not to do it, then they would get the 3 Amber. So it's kind of up to our opponent whether to give us this 6 Amber right here, but that's a free key for us if they do. So it's just one thing to consider. But yeah, that's 9 Amber. That's kind of on cards that either are under our opponent's control or that we might not want to play exactly. With the Sauropod's kind of a bad early game card to play for sure. So considering that. So now looking at Amber control, we have 5. We don't have very much Amber control, and that's kind of my biggest concern with this deck right now. We've got a couple of cards that have the Capture Pips on them, a few cards here that have Capture Pips on them. But overall, so I might increase this a little bit, but overall, it looks like it's mainly 1 or 2 Amber here. The biggest one we have, which is always nice to see, is the Submersive Principle here in Logos. Can kind of get our opponent down quite a bit. They have like 11 or less. We can take them off of a key. So that's one thing that'd be nice. Ways of moving Amber around, but not really a lot of other ways to remove our opponent's Amber. So we kind of have to go at a good clip here. And looking at creature control, we have 7. We have that Maelstrom that lets us kind of put things back. So if our opponent's really running away with the game, we have ways of getting that out. We have Frigorific Rod to exhaust things. We have, quite a few ways of taking care of creatures. Echo Pearl. Yeah, a lot of good fighters too. Primus Unguis end up being a pretty good fighter. Or making everything else good fighters, right? Every creature with Amber on it, yeah. So lots of ways of doing that. Efficiency 3, we have a few ways of archiving. We have this Eddie that lets us archive. We have the Phase Shift that lets us use a card off house. So these are all things that let us draw a little bit more on our at the end of our turn. And we had one other thing that let us kind of get rid of cards from our hand. I think it was the Novu Archaeologist. Oh, that's from discard pile. So yeah, there's one other thing. Oh, Hydra Cataloger. Yeah. So that's for both us and our opponents, but potentially still it's another one we can use to archive and get more efficiency. So good to have those. Recursion 3. So the Forgive or Forgets are absolutely recursion. They let us get 2 cards from our discard pile so we can reuse some of our really powerful things. And yeah, so anything that lets us get things back and like that's really handy. And then we're looking at Disruption 4. So we have a lot in Fathomable ways of, disrupting our opponent's game plan. So obviously this will make them have to think about their next house choice quite a bit. We have, what was it called? Brain Drain. Yep, there it is. That's the one that lets us look at their hand and remove a card back to the top of their deck. And we had one more that sort of let us do that too. But anyway, so 4 Disruption. So I'm looking at this and I'm thinking having the 2 Forgiver Forgets is really nice. With the Imperial Forge, I don't know that we'll be able to pull that off very much. Maybe it's possible we could have an end game where we could get, we could use the Trojan Sauropod to get just enough amber to, add enough amber with some creatures on board because we have a lot of Saurian creatures to somehow pull off the Imperial Forge. I don't think there's a very consistent way of doing that in this deck. And so looking at it as a whole, what would I get back? Forgive or Forget could probably archive the Phase Shift, archive the Eddy, get back the Illusions of Grandeur. We could get like 4 uses out of the Illusions of Grandeur with that Forgive or Forget per run of the deck, using the entire deck. So that's really cool. And that's really disruptive as well. So we kind of want to get these in our discard pile, use these as often as we can early on, looking at this. And then using our big Saurian pod to take care of our opponent's board, ideally. And then using our logos to just support with the old EGAD and the Seaborg and all that stuff. So that seems to be the game plan here. I don't know. I think I'm gonna go with a SAS guess of 63. I was thinking 62 or 63, but I'm gonna go with 63. I think that the lack of consistent amber control is gonna kind of hurt us. Maybe it's enough amber control, because there's a lot of disruption here, decent efficiency, and a lot of potential amber that you can get out of this deck. So I'm going to go with a 63. It's what my gut's telling me. You all can make your guesses now while I switch over to decks of Keyforge. I already have the deck list copied. And yeah, I'm locking in my 63. Go ahead and make your guess now, and we'll see what we got. Let's see. 64. Okay, so I wasn't too far away. Looking at this deck, we have 53 base arc, 12 synergy, -1 meta. Our amber control, we lost one because of Mechabui. And our subversive principles really giving us the most. Zealot, Edai, reach advantage. So we have quite a few. We have a little bit more than I expected. Amber artifact control, we have that frigorific rod. We have 18 expected amber. We're losing some because of the archaeologist and the submersive principle. So submersive is obvious. Why is the archaeologist? Oh, because it's always going to, it's never going to reap, right? It's always going to use his action ability. So it considers that to be a loss in amber. Speed, we have Phase Shift, Theory, Conjecture, Hydra Cataloger, Edai, and Maelstrom. So a lot of ways to increase efficiency here. Maelstrom I would not have considered to be an efficiency increaser because it puts all of the, it gives us chains. But why would that increase our, it's -2. There it is, -2 efficiency. Okay, gotcha. Recursion, Forgive or Forget, Nova Archaeologist, yep. Disruption, we're losing some from Hydro Cataloger, can't say that, because we're letting our opponent draw or archive every turn too. But overall, we have more disruption than that. We can kind of make up for that with, our 4 times use of Illusions of Grandeur potentially per run of the deck, if we can get the Forgive or Forgets at the right time. So yeah, we had 16 creatures. All that's right. Let's look at our synergies and anti-synergies here. So Eddy has some synergy with things that return friendly creatures from the discard pile. So yeah, that Forgive or Forget, we can get, maybe 3 uses out of this Eddy, potentially. Very cool. We have, let's see, 60% Abyssal Zealot, things that protect creatures. Want to keep that Zealot out. And use it to capture a bunch of amber. So that's one key way that we can get a lot of amber control there. Let's see, 80% positive with things that archives things. So yeah, with this Imperial Forge, we want to make a good use out of our archives. So we'll make a good use of the Forgive or Forget, the Nova Archaeologist, and the Eddy to try to build up to that Imperial Forge, if it's possible. It seems like it'd be really, really hard, though. Looking at this, not too many high synergies here. 60%. Guildspine Netcaster has 60% with things that protect creatures as well. You know, always want to have it out to disrupt creatures. Yeah, so nothing super of note here. Yeah, it's all pretty average. So yeah, kind of an average deck overall. You know, I would have a lot of fun to see if I can get this Imperial Forge to get pulled off in this deck at least once, using the archives. It's possible, but I think it would require a lot of setup. But yeah, what did you guys guess? Did you get close to this? Go ahead and leave a comment down below. And if you liked this video, I'd appreciate a like. And if you want to see more of these, I'd appreciate a subscribe. You guys have a great day, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.